To adjust your bike's saddle height, loosen the bike's seat post quick release, clamp bolt, or wedge bolt. Wiggle the seat post to be sure it is freely moving. Move it to the desired height, and tighten the quick release, clamp bolt, or wedge bolt to manufacturer's torque spec. Hello, I'm Truman with Park Tool. In this video, we will be walking through the process of adjusting your saddle's height, fore and aft position, as well as angle. These adjustments can be made on almost any bike, but there may be some outliers that we do not cover. Throughout this video, we will be mentioning manufacturer's torque specs. If you do not have a torque wrench, use a combination of perceived effort and the good old twist and jiggle test to check that things are properly secure. For more on perceived effort, check out the link in the description. It's important to note that we will not be talking about correct saddle position. Please visit your local bike shop or bike fitter for more on correct saddle height and positioning. To adjust your saddle's height, you'll first need to loosen the seat collar. If you have a quick release collar, pull the lever open with one hand and hold the post with your other hand. Once you have the lever open, wiggle the post and be sure it is free. Adjust to the desired height. Before tightening, be sure that the saddle is straight by looking down the length of the bike. Also be sure that you did not move the seat post above its minimum insertion mark, which is typically found on the seat post itself. For bikes with a clamp that is bolted, find the correct size wrench, typically a 4mm, 5mm, or 6mm hex, or T25 Torx. Hold the saddle with one hand and loosen the clamp with the other. These bolts are standard thread, so counterclockwise will loosen. Once loose, wiggle the saddle to be sure it's free and set to the desired height. If your bike's seat post is not round, you may not be able to wiggle it back and forth. In those cases, just lift or lower to desired height. Now, tighten the collar back down clockwise to manufacturer's specified torque. This torque can often be found on the collar or on the manufacturer's website. Next, we'll look at the fore and aft adjustment. That is the forward and backward adjustment of your saddle. This adjustment is often made to change your knee over pedal position. Your saddle has rails that are clamped by the head of your seat post, and there is some movement that can happen forward and backward. There is a limit to this movement, however, which is marked with the max lines on your saddle's rails. To adjust your fore and aft position, begin by loosening the seat post head. If you have two vertical inline bolts, loosen the bolts evenly till you can move the seat forward or backwards to the desired location. Now, tighten the bolts back down evenly to the specified torque, in this case 6.8 Newton meters. For seat post heads with two vertical bolts side by side, loosen both bolts equally until the saddle can move forward and backwards. Move the saddle to the desired location. Tighten to the appropriate torque spec, in this case 9 Newton meters. If your seat post has a single vertical bolt, loosen the bolt behind the post until you can move the saddle forward or backwards to the desired location. Then, tighten back down to manufacturer's specified torque. For a single horizontal bolt with plates, it's typically a 5 or 6mm hex or a T25 Torx. Loosen this bolt until you can move the saddle forward or backwards. Set to your desired location and torque back down to manufactured specs, in this case 12 Newton meters. And for this style of single horizontal bolted head, there will be two nuts that require a 14mm open-end wrench to loosen. Loosen one side until you can move the seat post forward or backwards. Set to desired location, tighten back down to 15 to 20 Newton meters. Finally, we'll adjust your saddle's angle. A good starting angle is to have the saddle level with the ground. You may find it to be a little bit more comfortable to have the saddle angled up or angled down. Adjusting your saddle's angle is very similar to adjusting your fore and aft position. 2 vertical inline bolts. To angle the front of the saddle down, loosen the rear bolt and tighten the front. To angle the front of the saddle up, loosen the front bolts and tighten the rear. The torque should be set to manufactured specs when done, typically 6 to 8 Newton meters. For 2 vertical bolts side by side, loosen both bolts equally, typically 1 full turn. Change the angle and torque back down to manufacturer's specified torque, typically about 10 to 13 Newton meters. For a single vertical bolt, loosen the bolt until you can change the angle of the saddle. Set to desired angle and torque back down to manufacturer's specified torque, typically 16 Newton meters. For a single horizontal bolted head like this, loosen the horizontal bolt. Adjust to the desired angle and tighten down to manufacturer's spec, typically 12 Newton meters. It is recommended to check your saddle and seat post are secure after making any adjustments. And now you know how to adjust your saddle's height, fore and aft, and angle. Get out there, get your hands dirty, and have fun.